Hi and welcome to Watch the Time and my first review of 2022. Can't say I'm particularly upset about seeing the back end of 21, so Happy New Year to you all and hope this year is better than the last couple. So my first review of 2022 is a watch that I've had actually now for a couple of months, and it's a watch I've had before. It's a Citizen ProMaster Diver, but it's the fully loomed dial version. Now, if you've seen my channel before, you'll know that I had an old beaten up. I bought it second hand. It was beaten up, but it was a good price at the time, and I kind of fell in love with it. And these little Citizen ProMaster Divers are fantastic for a number of reasons, and budgetary reasons being, high on the list in that they're really not expensive. You can pick them up fairly cheap. I mean, brand new, a couple of £100. Second hand, anything from sort of 60 upwards, depending on the condition and which model you get. And there are lots and lots of different models. People call it the lefty because the crown's on the opposite side to the normal side. Some people think that's so you can wear it on your right wrist, which you can, that's fine. But when you wear it on your left wrist, it means the crown does in no way digs into your hand. Not that that's ever an issue for me anyway on any watches, to be fair. It just makes it a little bit unusual to look at. As I say, I had just the standard black version. Absolutely loved it. It was beaten to hell, but I sold it because I wanted to downsize my collection, and I always had a bit of a hankering for the fully loomed dial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera around and we'll just go into this in a little bit more detail. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got this is my entire watch collection. I'm limiting myself to a maximum of 6 watches. Now, this isn't actually a watch, it's a vario, an altimeter for paramotoring. So I've actually got 5 watches in there, plus this one. So I'm limiting myself to 6 watches. You will see an Oris box here. That's an unboxing and review I'll be doing shortly of an Oris watch. But although that is technically a man's watch, I've actually given that to my partner, so that's not part of my collection, but I will review it because it is a stunning watch, that one, really special. Also in my watch box, I've got the Pagani Aquaterra style watch, which I'm going to do a review on next, and I was kind of waiting because I've got another Pagani on the way, and I was going to do a little sort of review of both of those together, if you like. So on to the Citizen ProMaster Diver then. So the big thing about this is the luminous dial, but I will get onto that in a minute because it's not as great as I certainly first thought. The watch itself is I think it's about 42mm across, 20mm lug width, about 13-ish mil thick. So actual dimensions of the watch is fantastic. The lug to lug is very short, and it does wear really nicely. Only got a 60 click bezel, nothing fancy. It almost lines up. I mean, it's not 100% lining up at the top, but it's okay. This is a proper dive watch. It is a dive 200-meter watch. You can physically use this for diving. It's certified as a diver. I think it's called an air diver. They actually print it on the back. The case back is obviously screw down, as is the crown, and all the information there is on the back. This is the model number. I think it's something like NY004009W, and then it's the movement is a GN4S or something like that. Very basic Miyota movement in these, and that does put a lot of people off. And I will just quickly demonstrate. I'm just going to see if you can hear this. So on these Miyotas, they don't hack, but they do hand wind. So basically, when you pull the crown out, you can't stop the second hand, but they do hand wind. But the rotor only spins in one direction, so when it spins, it really does spin, and you can feel a little bit of rotor wobble, and you can definitely hear it. If you put your hand up by your ear as you're wearing this and sort of flick the watch, you will hear it spinning, and that does put people off. These watches with these Miyota movements, but to me it's kind of quirky and I kind of quite like it. It's kind of it's always letting you know that, yes, I am a mechanical watch. I am winding myself up as you move and things like that. So I don't think it's a bad thing personally, but if it offends you or if you don't like the noise of it, then this isn't the movement for you. You'll need to go for a watch with a, maybe a Seiko movement, which has the magic lever system and winds in both directions, and generally are a bit quieter. These generally are a little bit noisy, but I kind of like it for that. This one is accurate. I've never had a bad one, and they're easy to regulate. You just sort out the beat error first, then you regulate them. I've done videos on this before, how to do this, and you can get these running consistently within sort of plus to minus 3 or 4 seconds a day quite easily. This one I haven't even regulated it. It's running bang on. It's within a couple of seconds of a day. No issues with it whatsoever. You've got a day-date complication. It's a highly legible watch, which I like, and I think the way they've done this fully loomed dial is actually really nice, and I just love the colour of it. I'm just going to pop it on wrist. So just to show you on my just over 7¼ inch wrist, say it wears like a much smaller watch. It's lightweight. It's all the good things: robust, reliable, comfortable, legible, and all that. So, ultimately a great watch. And I do love the colour of that dial. When you come in out of if we ever get sun in the UK again, only today, you come in out of the sun and it glows like, it's unbelievable how well it glows. It's like having a little torch on your wrist. And whilst we're talking about that, let's talk about the lume, because they've made an absolute massive cock up, in my opinion, of this, and that is they've loomed the hands, or they've just used the loomed hands from the standard watch. Now, if you look at the indices, the 12, 6 and 9 are loomed indices, which is fine, because the other indices, the 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10 and 11, they've used black dots, so it's actually quite legible, the dial in the dark. But because the hands are loomed, when you first light this up and you're coming out of the sunlight, you can see the hands brilliantly. They're absolutely fine. However, at my sort of 2 o'clock in the morning test, when your eyes are accustomed, it's dark, you wake up and you're in the middle of the night and you look at your watch, my test is, can you see the time? Yes or no? Well, on this, the answer is absolutely 100% no. All you can see is a green disc, and that's it. If the hands were black, then they would have shown up and you would be able to tell the time. Now, I am toying with the idea, and I've sort of mentioned this on a previous post, and I sort of suggested painting the hands, but someone suggested just use a Sharpie. Now, what I might do is use a black Sharpie and just paint the arrow tips of the hands. I'm not sure. The hour hand will definitely just be the arrow tip. The minute hand, I might do the whole thing. The second hand with the pip on the end, I'm just going to leave that as it is. So that is something that I might look to do. I have looked to see if I can find a set of hands for one of these in case I completely cock it up and I want to return it back to normal. So I am on the lookout for a set of hands for this, but I can't get them at the moment. It's not a major problem for me, and it wouldn't sort of, if I had to leave this watch as it is, I still love it during the day, and during the night I can tell the time because I've got a Fitbit, so it's not an issue for me. But I do like watches that are legible night and day, and when you start looking at my collection, that's kind of all my watches are. I've got a Casio there, which obviously backlit. The little Sugis Panda, that's legible night and day, no problem at all. The Tudor is the best out of the bunch. That is clearly legible at all times, and the lume is fantastic. The Seiko Arni, it's got good lume and it's got a light on it, so that's fully legible all times. The Pagani, it just about, not great, but just about creeps in that it is legible, but only just. But it does do it better than this. And this is a fully loomed dial, so it's kind of ridiculous, really. So as you can see, when you buy these Citizens watches, unfortunately, the bracelets that they come on are really not very good. They're quite janky, and I just don't like them, to be honest. So I never buy a Citizen watch on a bracelet. It's just not really worth it. This came on, I think it came on a a NATO strap, but I don't like wearing this type of watch on a NATO strap because of the way the cases, they become a bit top heavy and a bit bobbly. But I got this. It's like I don't know what the material is. It's like a plasticky canvas. So it's got the look of canvas, but it's waterproof. So it works really well in all conditions. It's you can just wash it and clean it and stuff. It's really nice. I really like it, but you've got the little bit of green stitching there to just sort of highlight the greenness of the fully loomed dial. So I really like that. And it works really fine. It's lovely and comfortable, no issues whatsoever. The bezel action on it, it's a 60-click bezel. It is what it is. I wouldn't say it's a luxury thing. It's a functional thing. I use it for, if I'm wearing this watch whilst cooking, I'll use it for timing food and stuff like that. But it is a functional and useful timing bezel on there. I don't dive anymore, so it's not something I use for diving. But, you could if you wanted to, absolutely. I love the shape of these, the cases on these. They're nicely polished under here, although it still retains its kind of tool-tastic look, even though it is polished, highly polished under here. But it's lovely. Look at the rounded lines you get. But then you've got this like nice brushing, really nice fine brushing around the bezel and on the top of the lugs here. And then this side, obviously, you've got that lovely polished. It's not polished to within an inch of its life, but it's just nicely done, I think. And they're just nice watches. I mean, they're not perfect. They're not high quality in any way, but the one I had previously, I say, when I got it, it'd been absolutely beaten to shit. It had scratches all over it. You could see it had been through the ring of the I think it was the minute hand was all bent on it, or the second hand was all bent on it, and it had had a really hard life, that watch, but it still ran absolutely perfectly. So don't have an issue about knocking these about, bashing them about, and getting them marked up. It's not a problem. This one is when I bought it was second hand, but it was absolutely mint. It was like it had never been worn. I'm really enjoying it, really love it, and it's definitely staying in my collection for a while. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this, and I say if you like this watch, you don't have to get the fully loomed dial. You can get blue dials, black dials. You can get Pepsi bezels. There's loads of different options. You can get I think they do one with the crown on the right hand side. You can get this, the lefty version. There's so many different options, and then obviously you've got the slightly different, but the Citizen Eco Drive versions of similar kind of watch. So there's plenty to choose from for everybody in these, and none of them are particularly expensive, but they're all great fun and reliable, fantastic watches. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.